Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Well, it's a new year and I wanted to start off the new year with a movie that's been requested over and over again, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, I hate this movie so much. Are there worse movies out there? Yes. Have I covered worse movies than this? Absolutely, no doubt. But I'm just gonna tell you, I can't stand this movie. I hated it. I know some of you really like the videos where I'm unhinged, and others really like the videos where I talk a little bit more about filmmaking and the process behind the scenes, such as the last video. Well, I'm just gonna tell you, this video is the former of the two. Munchie came out in 1992, not to be confused with Munchies, which came out in 1987. Munchie has a runtime of 1 hour and 22 minutes, all of which is regrettable, and it was also the feature film debut of Jennifer Love Hewitt. Munchie was voiced by Dom DeLuise. Of course, the movie includes a joke about being caught on a hidden camera show. That is, of course, a reference to the hidden camera show, Candid Camera, which was hosted by Dom DeLuise, which is where I mostly know him from, watching that show when I was a kid. This is the poster for Munchie, and if you think it looks stupid, it's because the movie is quite stupid. Now, in the past, people have told me that I'm too harsh when it comes to kids' movies or family films. And look, I'll give family movies a pass on some things, but just because a movie is made for kids doesn't give it carte blanche to just be awful across the board.
Gotta be Munchie.
There are some family films that are fantastic movies. They tell great stories, they have characters that are enjoyable for both kids and adults, but this movie has none of that. I always try to be completely honest with you guys. I always try to be as fair as I possibly can, but it's a new year and I'm coming out guns blazing, so buckle up. The movie starts in 1970 with some guy trying to get away from the cops, and he is driving for a very long time. Finally, he gets to his desired location, which is a bottomless pit, apparently. So he throws this box into it, and I have to say, we're not even 5 minutes in, and already I'm disappointed. By the sounds of it, it's not even bottomless. Now it's 1992, and Gage is in class, staring at his crush, Andrea, and daydreaming about winning student body president, which is what every young man dreams of. Except me. I had no interest in any of that stuff. Still don't. You know, like running for public office. I can't govern. I could barely run my own life. So the bell rings, but the teacher tells him to stay after class because she has some more denim for him in her desk.
Unless your grades improve in math, I may have to fail you. Do you understand that?
And then you'll be a failure. But you're probably going to grow up to be a failure anyway, so it might actually be good for you to get used to this now. Because, look, I'm just going to give it to you straight. We have to teach all the kids, but the reality is, for most of you, none of this is really going to matter in the end. I mean, a few of the kids might eventually make something of themselves, but most will end up working dead-end jobs or get involved in crime, and the rest will end up dying of drug overdoses and be left in the street. Eventually, yes, I'm sure they'll be picked up and taken to the morgue, but for a while, they'll be out there, slumped over, people just walking right by their cold, lifeless bodies, having no idea that they're actually dead. Were you chewing gum earlier? So Gage goes to have lunch, but the cool kids are giving him a hard time, and they throw his tray at the principal, and the principal is like, whose tray is this? And Gage is like, well, you know, technically it's mine, but that other kid threw it. And see, this is the problem. When you're the new kid in town, everybody hates you, including the adults. It's not fair. I had that experience, and I never even moved. The principal is like, I don't want to hear any excuses, and don't try to blame this on the cool kids. I mean, they're the cool kids for a reason, because everybody thinks they're cool, and you're kind of a dork. So 20 hours of detention, and if you screw up again, I will murder you. So Gage walks home thinking about how much he hates everybody in his life, and that's when he sees his mom with her new boyfriend, Elliot, and he hates him too. Elliot tells Gage that he needs to try out for the football team because as of right now, he is not cool, and that's probably why his real father took off.
Come on, Gage, you gotta face the facts. He just doesn't want you.
Yeah, come on, Gage, let's get real here. Your father wishes you didn't exist, probably because of how much of a loser you are. So you can either sit around the house being a loser, or you can go try out for that football team, and then maybe people will see some value in you. Because society really likes to reward people who are good at throwing a ball. Plus, I'm trying to nail your mom, and if that's gonna happen, we're gonna need some time alone. So Gage is like, screw this, I'm fed up with this world. I'm just gonna start walking and fantasizing about my death. And this is when he stumbles upon your typical suburban neighborhood mine, which is boarded up and says, keep out, but that's more of a suggestion, really. And Gage just easily moves the sign, because who has money for nails in this economy? Inside the mine, Gage finds the box from the beginning of the movie. But wait a minute, the guy at the beginning of the movie threw the box down a hill that had a bottom. So how did it end up in this mine? No idea. Honestly, out of all the stupid shit that happens in this movie, this is nothing. So there's a voice coming from the box telling Gage to open it and let him out. And Gage actually does it. You might be wondering why. Well, it's pretty simple if you've been paying attention. See, Gage doesn't have any friends, and when you don't have any friends, and a guy trapped in a box inside an abandoned mine tells you he'll be your friend if you open the box, you don't ask questions, you open that box. And what's the worst that could possibly happen? The gimp is inside? I mean, yeah, but realistically, what are the chances of that? So out pops Munchie, a disgusting looking creature, and Gage decides he doesn't want to be friends with something so ugly. Anyways, he goes home and his mom is angry about him coming home after dark, which begs the question as to just how long it took him to run home. Yeah, honestly, because he came home after school, which would have been like, what, 3:30, 4 o'clock? And then he immediately told Elliot to go f himself, and then he went to the mine. So how long was he at the mine? Not that long. Was he just wandering for hours? That's how you end up on a milk carton. Which I understand is not how they do things anymore in terms of missing kids. And see, this is why kids grew up with so much anxiety. You sit down and you're eating your cereal and the milk carton is like, have you seen this kid? They're missing. Could be you. Not to sound insensitive, but can I at least just kind of start the day before you hit me with that? So she sends him to bed, and when he walks into his room, he finds Munchie just hanging out on the bed, and Munchie says he got there by using magic. And the kid is just like, okay, that's cool. So what are you watching on TV? Like, that's how desperate this kid is for friends. Basically, no hesitation at all. Just, yeah, okay, I guess we're friends now. I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't want this thing hanging out on my bed. What if it's shedding some kind of alien shingles on my pillow? Suddenly, Munchie disappears as his mom walks in with some meat and macaroni, which may have been pre-chewed. So Gage says that he would rather have a hot pepperoni pizza instead, and Munchie uses magic to make that happen by stealing a pizza from a restaurant and making it fly to the house. The chef takes out a cleaver for some reason and starts chasing after the pizza. I don't understand why he's shaking the knife. What is he gonna do if he catches up to it? Kill it for running away? But the cops see this going on and they pull over in front of him and I assume open fire. Now, over the years, I have seen some unbelievably unappetizing pizzas in TV and movies, and you can add this one onto the list. I mean, the kid wanted a hot pepperoni pizza, and this looks like a pizza with a few slices of pepperoni and a pile of puke in the middle. And this isn't hot either. I guess that's what happens when a pizza's been spinning through the air for a while. This looks like the coldest a pizza can get before it's frozen. It's too bad that Munchie couldn't just use his magic to create a pizza. No, I guess that's not how his magic works. So the choices are puke on a pizza or puke on a plate with a side of meat. I'm kidding. Actually, I think that macaroni actually could be pretty good. It always depends, you know, what's in the macaroni salad. Like, is that mac and cheese? It could be good. It's always a gamble with mac and cheese. It really is. Sometimes it looks amazing, and then you bite into it and it's completely bland. They totally changed Kraft Dinner, by the way, and it's bullshit now. When I was a kid, it was amazing. It was like neon orange and it was super cheesy. Now it's like this blasé beige color, and it doesn't really taste that cheesy. It's not just me. I know it. You know what they're doing? They're taking the cheese out of it and replacing it with, chemicals or whatever. Anyways, they eat the whole disgusting pizza, and then Munchie is like, hey, I was hoping to sleep here tonight, so Gage lets him sleep in a drawer. And there's just no goddamn way I'd let that thing sleep in my room. I mean, this is already ridiculously creepy. Imagine coming home and this thing is in your bed, and it's like, yeah, I got here before you by using magic. Then it says, I was hoping to bunk with you tonight.
Actually, I was hoping to sort of bunk down with you.
You've known this thing for a total of what, 15 minutes? I'm not letting my guard down for a second. I mean, what are the chances that in the middle of the night, this thing tries to kill you? Or something else? 50-50, I would say, at best. The next day at school, Gage sees Andrea walking down the hall, and he looks like he couldn't be less interested in her. This is supposed to be his crush, and he appears to not be attracted to her at all. It's like a chore for him. Munchie says that he's going to take care of the bullies and change Gage's grades. So he goes to the principal's office and uses magic to disguise his voice so that the secretary gets up to go bang the principal and leaves her computer. Also, this sends a really good message to the young audience. I mean, you'd think that he would use his magic to maybe help Gage learn and get better at these subjects, but no. I mean, why try to improve when you can just cheat? Gage walks out of the school showers and, surprise, Munchie is in his locker. But then one of the bullies walks in with his shorts over his sweatpants, which was the style at the time. So Munchie bashes his face with the locker door and then helps him fall and bang his head on the floor. Then he tells Gage that it's all up to him now, and Gage learns how to stand up to a bully that's suffering from a concussion by uppercutting him into a laundry bin that came out of nowhere. And here comes a hilarious reveal. The locker room had other people in it the whole time, and the gym teacher goes up to Gage and he's like, yeah, that kid had it coming, so I'm just gonna let it slide. Anyways, the principal is like, I know you're somehow responsible for everything that's been going on. Ashton's pants falling down, Leon getting beat up, your grades being changed, everyone finding out about me banging my secretary. It's all your fault, and once I can prove it, you'll be expelled. Which will be good because nobody likes you anyways. Not Andrea, not the other kids, not even your own father. Munchie then shows up and Gage is like, hey, thanks a lot, shithead. You've made my terrible life somehow even worse. So Gage takes the box over to his neighbor, Professor Crookshank, because he's into a bunch of weird shit, and Gage is like, hey Professor, can you do me a favor and coat the inside of this box with a generous amount of cyanide? And the professor's like, wait a minute, this box belongs to a super old magical creature, and I'd really like to meet him. And Gage is like, oh, god damn it! And I, for one, think Gage is completely justified in his feelings towards this piece of shit. He's just causing more problems. He's not helping the kid better himself, by learning anything to do better in school or his social life. He's really just a degenerate fairy, an elf con man, a criminal. His magic powers are basically petty theft, assault, and fraud. So Gage's mom goes out to dinner with Elliot, and this is when Munchie secretly starts calling people over to have a party, like Andrea and her dad, and a bunch of random people. He even calls Hugh Hefner so that he can send over some girls. I guess we can add human trafficking to his list of magic powers. At some point, Gage comes downstairs and he's like, what the hell is going on here? I guess his Walkman was loud enough to drown out the noise of all these people coming over, including a live band. Everybody is basically getting tanked. The professor is getting hit on by the playmates. Even the principal is at the party, and he tells Gage not to worry about all that detention that he gave him because the party is so good, which is crazy to me. I mean, this guy was gunning for Gage. He was going to launch this whole investigation into all the stuff that happened to get Gage expelled from school. And then he goes to one party and he's like, nah, it's all good. And this is when Gage's mom gets home and she's understandably pissed. I mean, there's like 50 people at this kegger and they didn't even charge $5 a head. You might as well just send him off to go live with the foster family. He's clearly learned nothing. Elliot hears Munchie snoring and he's like, holy crap, I'm gonna take this thing to the laboratory and cut him up. And Gage is like, no, you can't do that. And honestly, why not? I mean, you got everything you wanted at this point. You got to hang out with Andrea, so let him go chop up the little bastard. I mean, isn't that kind of the solution to the rest of your problems? I mean, obviously you have to act like you don't want him to do it, so, you know, you put on a little show. You pretend to cry, you stand in front of him, no, stop, and if you happen to get bumped, you just fall over and act hurt, and oh no, he got away. See, then Munchie's gone for good, and you can be like, hey mom, look, Elliot is a piece of shit. He's gonna go kill a harmless creature. Dump him. This is like the definition of killing two birds with one stone. Anyways, Elliot tries to escape with Munchie in a garbage bag, but he's stopped in his tracks by getting some beer sprayed on him. What is he, allergic? So Gage and the professor take Munchie and the chase is on. Where are they going? I don't know, who cares? At one point, Elliot crashes into an ATM that's just sitting in the middle of a parking lot. Finally, Munchie takes the wheel and suddenly the car starts flying. And wow, never seen anything like this before. Wonder where they got this idea. Okay, so in the end, the professor basically smuggles Munchie onto a plane so that they can go on some expedition and explore ancient civilizations that I guess Munchie was a part of. And then the pilot shows up and he's like, hey, I'm the pilot. Who's flying that plane? So yeah, basically the professor and Munchie hijacked the plane. Don't see why that was necessary. I mean, you had a ticket. Also, Munchie tells Gage that he'll see him again someday. Well, good luck with that, because if you and the professor ever come back, you'll probably be facing some serious charges. And that ending is just so lame. So let me give you my ending, okay? They get caught trying to smuggle Munchie onto the plane, and the cops surround the professor, and they're like, open the box, open the box. Munchie pops his head out of the box, and the one cop doesn't even hesitate. He fires one single shot, the bullet hits Munchie right between the eyes, and his big, stupid-ass head explodes into a million pieces, sprays over everybody in the terminal, the mom, the dad, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Gage, especially Gage, because that's actually the final freeze frame. It's just him standing there in shock with bits of Munchie in his hair as the credits start rolling. But you know, obviously that was never going to happen because this movie is not good. Now, would that ending be appropriate for a family movie? No, not necessarily, but would be kind of cool. Really, what I want to see is a test screening and the audience's reaction to the movie with that ending. That's what I would like to see. Just imagine the shock on people's faces. Much like the shock on Gage's face when he was covered in pieces of Munchie's brain. Now, would I recommend this movie? The answer is hell no. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, really. It's not a good family movie. It's not a good movie, period. I don't even think it's a good bad movie. Munchie is not the hero in this movie at all. The real hero was the guy at the beginning of the movie who tried to throw Munchie down a bottomless pit. That guy tried to save everybody. I want to see a movie about that guy. There was a sequel to this movie. 2 years later, in 1994, they made Munchie Strikes Back. I have it. I haven't watched it. I don't plan on ever watching it, but I did skim through a bit of it.
My dad, he died last year. Can you bring him back?
There are limits.
In the original movie, Munchie was voiced by Dom DeLuise, but in the sequel, Munchie was voiced by Howard Hessman.
You know what they say? The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Come on, gang! Let's go blow up the DMV!
I would say that it was weird to hear him with a different voice, but quite honestly, I think the character is weird with anybody's voice. I can't think of whose voice would fit the character. Also, they brought back the actor who played Gage in the first movie to play Gage in the sequel, But the really weird thing is that they brought back Andrew Stevens, who played Elliot in the first movie. He looks exactly the same, but he's playing a different character. This is another one of those movies that I am so glad to be done with, because it means that I never have to watch it again. I want to thank all of my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and my YouTube channel members. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, but that's pretty much it for this one, thankfully, and I'll see you all next time. I mean, I recently just found out that one of my old students just got arrested for running an illegal dogfighting ring. And I mean, how much math do you need to know to do that? Not a lot. Okay, well, you need to know some, like counting. Yeah, I'd say just really nail down your counting, maybe your multiplication tables, and yeah, I'm not gonna say that you'll be fine, but you probably won't end up dead out there with the others in the cold. Yeah, winter is coming. Now it's 1992, and Gage, oh my god, that was like 33 years ago. 1992 would have been actually the first year that I started learning how to use a video camera. You know when you hear a year and you think, oh yeah, I remember that year, that was not long ago, and then you really think about it and you realize, no, that was forever ago. That was several worlds ago. Pre-social media, pre-internet, really. That is just terrifying. And the thing is, I'm just talking bullshit because I never saw a kid's face on the back of a milk carton. Also because, you know, we didn't drink milk out of milk cartons, we had bags of milk. And the thing is, bagged milk, yeah, you grew up with it, so it's just normal. And then when I talk to people from the States, they're like, so why is it in bags? You start to wonder who's the first person who came up with the idea? You know, like they're sitting there milking a cow, like, all right, from the bucket to the bag to the store. Yeah, that's it.